Hi everyone, and welcome. I'm Roy Amior, co-founder and CPO at Anecdotes, and I'm joined today by Jamin, Global CISO at Apex Fintech Solution. Thank you so much for being here. Over the past few years, GRC has changed a lot, but one challenge keeps coming up: third-party risk management. If you look at how most organizations actually manage TPRM today, it's still largely the same process it's been for years, and everyone is frustrated. So today, we'll talk about why the process has become so difficult, what pain points are holding teams back, and how we believe AI can fundamentally change the way TPRM gets done without taking humans out of the decision-making process. And for the first time, we'll also give you a sneak peek at our upcoming agentic TPRM solution and how we're rethinking the entire experience. Jamin, let's start with your perspective. From what you've seen, what are the biggest pain points organizations face with vendor assessments today?
Over the years, vendors and client relationship got more and more complex, as we know that, right? But the third-party risk management fundamentally hasn't changed much. We face the TPRM challenges as like most other companies do. It's not unique to us. For us, I would say there are three main points. There are three major pain points that we see. And I'll start with the first one, which is the manual work everywhere. From entire process, from start to finish, it's manual work. Whether it's classifying information for vendors or clients, collecting information, analyzing it, assessing it. For example, from questionnaires to reviewing responses, chasing vendors, going through SOC 2, DPA, and list goes on and on. All of them are pure manual work. And it's extremely time consuming. And it doesn't stop there, right? For a first assessment, great, you collected all this information. You do this all over again next time around, all manual work. The second point I would bring it up is not a single source of truth. Information lives across email threads, Slack messages, spreadsheet, vendors trust portal, GRC platform, wherever it landed. To make it harder, it actually makes it very hard to correlate this information and paint a risk picture. We all know that risk is not static. It constantly changes. But it makes it very hard when you have a sources data that you need for the paint the picture is scattered everywhere. So even if you nail the assessment very well, the problem is if you want to get it current, you recheck it. It's rechecking all the scatter sources again and again. The third pain point I would say is the trust gap in the responses. To tie it back to the first point, I would emphasize this, right? We all know risk doesn't stay still, but the assessment does. Most of the assessments are a snapshot, point in time, the accurate when you capture it, but the day after, it's no longer accurate. Every day after, it's no longer accurate. We also know whether it's vendor or clients, risk profiles changes constantly. But you won't find out till the next review. Maybe it's annual review. And if you say, well, let's fix this, we want to get more accurate, and then we start changing the cadence or frequency, right? And you want to change it to periodic reviews or validation. What that means, it's more manual work, compounding to the original problem. So honestly, I think a lot of this comes down to this is volume. It's not that TPRM team does not know what to do. They do, but it's so much manual work. It's so much repetitive work. That's where I think, this is where exactly what I think that AI can start alleviate some of the pain point for the TPRM team.
Thanks, Jamin. That's fascinating. And I couldn't put it better. And this aligns completely with what we hear from enterprise teams every day. And with these pain points and more in mind, we made the decision to solve the foundational problems in the Anecdotes way. First, we wanted to leverage our native automated data collection capabilities to address the vendor discovery challenge. Anecdotes plugins can connect to all kinds of relevant sources, from ERPs to identity providers, finance or procurement systems, all contain a portion of the vendors of a company. Dedicated AI agents then analyze the data and consolidate the different naming conventions of the vendor, presenting a unified view of the vendors detected. Once a vendor is detected, the agentic pipeline starts running immediately. Instead of a TPRM specialist that starts collecting and analyzing information, specialized agents are first classifying the vendor to the relevant tier, based on the classification criteria set by the company. According to the tier set by one agent, another one starts working. The assessment agents are now looking for relevant information, either internal or external, according to the relevant tier. Additional agents are specialized in analyzing different types of documents, such as PT, SOC 2, or AI policy, and then provide a risk assessment based on the controls defined by the GRC team. We're not asking you to change how you assess vendor risk. We simply feed your existing framework into autonomous agents, replacing manual, static questionnaires with continuous automated answers. But now you would ask, isn't it too risky to fully rely on agents for such a sensitive flow? And you're right. We'll let you decide when you need to stay in the loop and when to allow for autonomous agentic activity. For example, the agent has completed the assessment here. But because I set a rule requiring approval for critical tier vendors, it flagged an action item for me. From this screen, I can review the agent's work with full traceability and confidence scores and override any decision if needed. At any point, I can also jump in with ChatGRC, which shares the full context of the agent's activity. Once the initial assessment is complete, I can set my agentic TPRM pipelines to run on my terms, triggered by renewals, document expirations, or custom policies. The result? An ever-updating, highly scalable TPRM program driven by answers to my questions, not endless questionnaires. To summarize what we've covered today, legacy TPRM is broken by three core challenges: heavy manual overhead, scattered information, and lack of real trust due to static, point-in-time reviews. As you saw today, our agentic pipeline changes that completely. It automatically gathers evidence, maps it against your controls, continuously monitors vendor risk, and delivers actionable recommendations directly to your decision makers. Jamin, thank you for sharing your perspective and experience with us today. And if you'd like to learn more about our upcoming TPRM solution, we'd love to continue the conversation. Please feel free to reach out to us in the event chat or visit our website to get in touch. Thanks everyone for joining us, and enjoy the rest of the summit.